Welcome to the bold analysis, ladies and gentlemen. I noticed an unusual incident in Nyeri that I want us to pay attention to. Kithure Kindiki, while introducing those who accompanied the president in Nyeri, intentionally called the Inspector General of Police, Kanja, to the podium, and in that plan he was parading those who allegedly are appointed by the president at the president's mercies.
Hiyo kazi na Rais William Ruto wa NGEK, ile commission ya mambo ya akina mama. Asante sana. Tuko na CEO of NGEK. Hata we ni daktari. Madaktari ni wengi. Dr. Purity Ngina, this young lady, ni msichana mdogo. Si mnaona msichana mdogo? Rais Ruto amempatia kazi, ndiye Chief Executive Officer wa Commission on Gender Equality katika Kenya. Na anatoka hapa Nyeri. Hiyo ni mzuri ama sio mzuri? Pia kuna mkubwa ya polisi ya Kenya, Inspector General ya National Police Service, anaitwa Douglas Magaithie IG.
Nimukenete nikona president ito aha na mugachokia gatho nimukwenda acoke ringi no wega. Thank you muno na ithuĩ twautaĩra itu nĩguo. Asanteni sana, thank you.
Kuna wengine ambao hawako hapa, hata nasikia hii Nyeri ma general ni wengi. Nasikia baada ya General Karangi kutoka sasa General Kahariri pia ako area, si namna hiyo? Bas, alafu mwisho wacha tu.
And I even realized that Kindiki was looking for General Kahariri, the CDF, just in the mere picture of telling Nyerians, those who've been appointed in government. And that was to portray that. And interestingly, you'll realize that Kanja was not very comfortable. He made a very short speech and left. And I can tell you, what the state would have wanted is for him to talk to Nyerians about even supporting Ruto regime. Even without him talking about politics, but the objective was to parade him, to portray him as a man who is supporting the president. And intelligence believes that the Ruto must go chants are led by Rigathi supporters who generally come from the Kikuyu land. But that is, I feel, a misguided one. And that is why he was called. And why am I saying it's unusual and it's a contradiction? Because just a day before the Nyeri rally, the president has been saying in several occasions that because he gave the police financial autonomy, they run their own budget, they decide who to take to court, the police doesn't take instructions from him. But the mere act of parading the police boss before the public as one of the people you've appointed really contradicts the issue of police independence. In fact, it portraying that they are your apologists. Kindly subscribe to your channel, to our channel, click the notification bell and like our videos, and thank you very much for your support. Shout out to baby Kimberly. I'm told that girl is in grade 2. Yes, she's in grade 2. And she's welcome to the board. Oh, yeah, so she follows the bold. Anasema mama akiclick, she moves around. Na napenda sana siasa. Oh, I was really interested. Shout out to baby Kimberly. And may God bless you as you grow to become future leaders. Now, do you have a demand for solar solution? Do you need solar? You need to work with a reliable company. That is why I want to recommend to you Instalight. Instalight are the best in town. So if you stay in an area where you go through frequent outages, power outage, you need to figure out working, setting up solar, be it in an office or a house you've built for your parents up country, and Kenya Power is taking you left, right, and center. Consider solar. And so talk to Gidiomi here. His number there, 0722 818 883. 0722 818 883. Tell Gidiomi it's from the bold. Na najua atakuongelesha vizuri, na atakupatia pia a very good discount. By the way, he's the founder and the person running the company. So I'm not giving you an agent, someone who will take you through circles. He's the person who's going to do the work for you. So call Gidiomi there. Now, I was curious about this incident of police boss being paraded in Nyeri, because it happened a week after the CDF Kahariri also was warning about the Ruto must go chant. And that really irritated the public. Members of the public reacted to this. Even the days when Japheth Kome was police boss here in Nairobi, William Ruto made trips to Meru, but I never saw Japheth Kome being paraded in Meru the way Kindiki was parading Kanja. And interestingly, the trend of security organs being portrayed, or rather being perceived as Ruto's apologists, is setting the country in a wrong path. Even if we are desperate for legitimacy, we are desperate to show the country those who support us. And in this coordinated script, the president is painting a perception of security organs endorsing him to counter the Ruto must go. And on this, I want to invite you to look for Standard. Look for this article, not Standard, Nation. There is a Nation by former MD, Special Projects, Macharia Gaido, one of my best columnists. I read, Security Chiefs Debasing Themselves. That is the title. And he is actually laying a very big argument, a very good argument on what I was actually discussing in that podcast, what I've earlier mentioned. Remember last week during that public lecture, the very first one by the NIS boss and security organs, he was invited. And in that article, he's saying that and he told the security bosses that at the height of Gen Z protest, he was being harassed and he drove to a police station, a place he would think was the safest. And to his surprise, he was arrested by detectives inside a police station, only to be released later under the guise of being, mistaken identity. But of course, and he confronted them. Just listen to this part. I proffered that his intelligence officers were part of notorious special squad responsible for abductions, torture, enforced disappearances, illegal confinement, extrajudicial executions since the Gen Z revolt of last June that shook President William Ruto's government to the core. So he's saying, I've just taken that part from that article. He's saying he actually told the intelligence boss about that. And let me put a point around that. At the height of Gen Z protest, there were all these things. When police were told, the police bosses were summoned in court, they played picky-ponky games. They were not going there. They were laying all manner of excuses. And the bombshell from Muturi that when his son was arrested, NIS confirmed that they were holding his son, created a sticky point on the minds of the people that security agencies were conducting some of these ills while under the guise of protecting the president. But in that, one thing that came out is that the fact that some of these people arrested, they found in dams, some found in rivers, some found in, very, very shocking scenes and very shocking situations. Even as we talk, there's some 27 bodies still lying in some morgues in Nakuru, unidentified bodies. And they say they're taken around that time. So, the security organs were portrayed as not protecting the rights of the people. Because there are some people that are arrested, and if you protect the right of the person you've arrested, then you need to take that person to court. But if that person disappears and is dead, and then you don't care, and that portrayed a perception that they are actually working at the behest of the president. Now, let's get this. He says that indeed the issue of national security organs debasing themselves by acting as appendages of President Ruto's political survival machinery were amplified when in unprecedented intrusion, the Chief of Defense Forces, General Kahariri, used his turn at the podium to warn against the Ruto must go chants that are now common at many public gatherings. Now that is it. This as perspective that comes out that they are appendages of William Ruto's survival is not a welcome situation for the country. And I want to say something if he said here. Of course, he's saying that the Constitution allows the Ruto must go chance. And the people also know that the ballot is the ultimate space to change regime. Now, he says, and he's challenging them, and he's saying, I would want to get something he said about that. He's saying that. Now, they're saying, we have a progressive constitution with a very elaborate Bill of Rights that protects freedom of speech and expression and secures our political rights, which include freedom to seek removal of an elected leader. The big mistake our security chiefs make is to equate political challenges facing the presidents to the threats of the national security. They are talking big on their sacred mandate to secure the country against both internal and external threats, but seem stuck in the ossified mindset that the president is Kenya and Kenya is the president. Nothing could be further from the truth. The president is just a temporary holder of the office he was entrusted with by the people. There were previous holders of the office, and there will be many more to come. This is what he's saying. And I think I agree with what the argument by Macharia Gaido. Macharia Gaido is saying the public have what could be, and if allow me to expand, could be socio-economic political problems with the president. And allow me to use the Gen Z protest. The trigger of the Gen Z protest was finance bill. And the public raised questions about taxes that were introduced in it. But from that, they also raised questions on president over-traveling and the economy is not doing well. So they had economic problems by how the country is run. But then they chose a tool that is in the Constitution, protest. A tool that is in the Constitution. Now, while exercising that right, the security agencies on the other side looks at it, makes a blanket judgment on it as just a national security threat. And that is what Macharia Gaido is saying, that they must separate the two. And I want to pose a question to people within security analysts. When we go to an election, and people see videos of ballot stuffing. They see videos in the corridors of ballot stuffing, probably across the country, and then they make a judgment that this election has been rigged. The Constitution says the loser should go to Supreme Court. Now, when people see those videos and start protesting, do you blame them? Do you now say national security threat? Who exactly should be arrested first? The person who is doing ballot stuffing. So, as much as you also want to talk to the people, they must debase themselves. And that is why I'm saying the perception that security agencies are President Ruto's apologists is a very bad place for us to be as a country. And I want to explain that here. The trend actually portrays Ruto as a failed man who is just using that called state machinery. I insist, parading IG Kanja, I'm very sure the police boss was not pleased. Even if you look at the speech, that is not his space. That is not his thing. He's not going to vie there. He doesn't want to be a governor in Nyeri. He's not in the electoral, he's not in the political space. So it is not in his interest. But I want to believe, probably was there and was told, President is going to Nyeri, so enda upatie President security kana watu organize watu wako ukuje. Then he didn't know, probably he was even going to be given the microphone. And that's when he was given the microphone and salimia watu wakaenda. But what would be the objective? Wangetaka hata ongee siasa. Seme to support rais. You know. But even without saying to support rais, coming out there, and that is the perception. So, that will even lose trust when the president talks things about policy statements, makes policy positions for the government, or makes some enforcement. It doesn't, the police lacks, is perceived as just an extension of Ruto machinery. And a government that is perceived as overusing state machinery is perceived as dictatorship. Look at what's happening in Uganda. Uganda is a police state. The way they're harassing Besigye there. The second issue is this. When we get to 2027 election, with that perception and convincing point that the police and Ruto, the security organs and the president are one, it is going to justify any rigging claim. And let me tell you, who escorts the ballot papers? The police. Who protects Bomas of Kenya? The police. I'm telling you, at elections, in every step, the police, the security agencies are there. Now, when already you are giving a situation where police lacks neutrality, the security organs lacks neutrality. They are part and parcel of making the elections free and fair. But when they are perceived as with the president, it will actually hurt. It will affect the transparency of 2027 general election. And you know the resultant effect? Low turnout. People might even feel that, oh, amenunua polisi, amenunua jeshi, mbona tunataka kupiga kura? Really? And even if we win fairly, people really question about that. I think the president can go to record as having, I don't know what they say, destroyed or transformed different sectors. In education, he's introducing education funding model for university. In health, he's doing, SHA. He's trying to put in agriculture, he's introducing fertilizer subsidy. He's trying to, but then he must also not go on record as the president who destroyed the respect, the sanctity, and neutrality, and professionalism of the security organs. It is in my argument, and I argue with what Macharia Gaither is saying, The security agencies should not carry the political burden of the president. They're not involved when the president is making some of the policy decisions. They're just an enforcement arm. But they should not accept to be portrayed as an extension of the executive. And the military should understand, when they were sent on the street, they were received. The civilians, the citizens received them, and they saw them as the only hope of action, the only hope available. On this one, I argue my point. We should, the security agencies, should not profile any other problem and any other problem. People have a problem with the president. So when they're in Nyayo, they're singing Ruto must go. They're in Nyayo, after singing Ruto must go, they go home. People are drunk in clubs. They remember Ruto must go. After that, they're drunk. They're going to their home. The next day, they're in jobs. They're just reminding themselves that we must make a decision in 2027. It is not right for security agencies to profile President William Ruto's political problems as national security threats. The line needs to be drawn. Thank you.